Okay, guys, this is part two of what's news, and I got three more stories to get to. So, without further ado, I'm just gonna touch on the stories. One is a funny story; it was a weird story, no less. Another one is a local story about what Mayor Bloomberg said about many parents and them forcing their kids to go to school. And one I'm talking about right now is Pistol Palin and President Obama. And you guys should already know by now, Bristol Palin have made some comments that pretty much pissed off a lot of people, especially from her background as being a mother and a single mom for that matter. And before I go on the air, before I go on talking about this, I'm just going to make it very straight. I don't have a beef with Pistol Palin as a person. I don't know. She's pretty much, for the most part, have kept away from the spotlight. I wasn't mad at her at Dance with the Stars. I didn't really care for the show, to be honest with you. I just thought, do I think that her fans, the Tea Party fans, her supporters of her mother kept her on? Probably, yeah. But you know what? Other than that, I didn't think it was that big of a deal. As long as she stay out of politics and keep away from that kind of limelight, it didn't bother me. If anything, I felt was bothered by her mother, who kept putting her in the spotlight, who kept, making her as what I like to call as the poster child of good parenting. When reality is, she's not as perfect as anybody else. She does have problems, but according to Palin's family household, she never has any problems, and she's never wrong about anything. And only until what she says or how she conducts herself backfires, where she's automatically backtracking. But like I said, for Pistol Palin concern, I really don't have a beef with her. I really don't. It's just that I don't really consider her as a major topic. But there are people who pay attention to what she says, and what she said here. Like I said, if she would have kept out of the politics, limelight, I would not care. But because she said it in such a way that is obviously political and obviously just did to smear the president even more, I have no choice but to talk about it because, frankly, what she said just makes no sense and uh, basically put her foot in her mouth, and that's no other way to put it. Now, before I go on, I made it very clear about President Stans. I don't care about President Stans whether he support gay marriage or not. To be honest with you, a lot of my friends actually, I'm happy it's happy that he's finally talked about it. But I also made it very clear in my last video that I didn't think he was sincere about it. I didn't think he did it for the right reasons, and not because I think he's going to lose points in the election, but because I find it kind of strange that after what happened in North Carolina, he decided to pick now to go out and support. And many people have mentioned this as well that they really don't think he's really going to make any effort. In fact, a friend of mine from a website that I'm involved with had mentioned that even though he said this, he's not going to really interfere with the states passing laws that ban same-sex marriage. He basically said it's a state-by-state situation. Well, I'm sorry to say this. Basically, you're saying that you're for it, but you're not going to really do anything to prevent their rights being taken from them. So to me, all you're doing is just saying words. It doesn't really mean anything unless you put those words into action, and that's just my feeling towards it. Other than that, that's his. He can endorse it, and that's fine. And I have no problem against it. I'm always wondering why people are so hell bent against gays and lesbians when they're not even bothering you. They're not hurting your family. Why do you feel the need to hurt them? I just don't get it. But according to them, it's religious values, and I just don't get it. But Pistol Palin says something about it, and she mentions his two daughters. And basically, the article that I got here, because there's a lot of articles, I'm just going to go right here, is that President Palin rips Obama for listening to daughters Mala and Sasha on supporting gay marriage. It says here that one of America's most famous political daughters, whatever you say, is outraged that President Obama is taking advice from his own children. 21-year-old has lashed out on at the commander in chief and said that his daughters help influence the decision in supporting gay marriage. While it's great to listen to your kids' ideas, there are also times when dad needs to simply needs to be a dad. And former Alaska governor's daughter argues in a blog on Thursday. It was abruptly titled "Hail to the Chief." Um, and Palin, and Palin is a single mom herself, then argues children are raised from homes where they are both mothers and fathers, and that's where the backlash began. She is a single mother, and the fact that she would say something like this, being a single mother yourself, you would think she'll catch herself with that. And it's I love it when these politicians say something and they don't even realize what they're saying, because a lot of people got on that. A lot of people got on the fact that children are raised in children are better raised when there's both parents. Now, whether you believe that or not, that's fine by me. I don't care. The point is, she's a single mother, saying that the family is better off raising a mother and father. Well, that's the case. Then you should be with your boyfriend or ex-boyfriend raising your children, but you're not. And that brings up a lot of old stories, like while she dumped him for a car. She never really had any plan. The Sarah family pretty much ruled the pants in the family. She's more of a puppet towards her mother. All that stuff came out, and all that stuff came out in abundance. And it's very near-minded. It's very close-minded, and you know what? It definitely sounds more of Sarah Payton than her, and that's the problem what I have with this whole thing. And to me, somebody should put this girl on the side and just tell them stay out of this situation. I would have been better off than hearing Palin say this, because at least I know where she stands. At least I know where her head is. This thing, oh man. In a case that would have been helpful for him to explain to his daughters that while her friend's parents are no doubt lovely people, that's no reason to change thousands of years of thinking about marriage. Or that as great as her friends may be, we know that a general kids are better grown up with mothers and fathers' homes. Fathers help shape the kids' worldviews. This, and again, I gotta ask the question: if you really do believe that, why are you not with your ex-boyfriend? You're a single mother. I don't see nobody complaining about that. If what you're saying is true, that means that a kid has less chance of growing up fine with single parents. That's what I got from that. You're basically criticizing yourself as well. Not even just gays and lesbians. You're criticizing yourself. And for the record, where is this evidence saying that homosexual parents make bad parents? Are you just saying that? Do you have any documents that proves that, or are you just saying it because your church is telling you that's wrong, that, and nothing else? Please tell me the facts on this, because I'm curious of where this is coming from. This came after Obama announced Wednesday that he is in favor of marrying same-sex couples being granted the same rights as heterosexuals, and pointed to his daughters who have friends whose parents are gay. Okay, it wouldn't dawn to them that somehow their friends' parents would be treated differently. Obama told ABC News. It doesn't make sense to them, and frankly, that the kind of things that prompted the change in perspective. And that's the problem. That's the main thing. People don't want change. They figure this is that these guys are tasteless human beings, and that they don't even deserve to be amongst people, and we should treat them as such, as worthless human beings. Even though they live pretty good lives, they pay their taxes, they work just like anybody else, and yet we're still trying to degrade these people because of what we believe. And that's all that is. That's all that is in North Carolina. They basically passed that not because of what these guys could be considered dangerous, because their spiritual belief. This was based on religion, not nothing else, nothing else at all. And to me, North Carolina, what they did is to me is disgusting. It really is disgusting because there was all the stuff that is going on in this country, a low income, no jobs, the economy. We're still hanging on to this, which has no effect towards individuals whatsoever. And to me, it makes me sick. I just got that's just something I want to get out of my chest here. Uh, Today's press conference might have been about appointing Dorothy Explorer as Attorney General because her success in shopping Swiffer the Fox, Swiffer the Fox. I don't know what the hell that is. This probably was the typo she wrote. It would have been nice for the president would have been an actual leader and help shape the thoughts instead of merely reflecting what many teenagers think after way too many episodes of Glee. Gee, where the hell that came from? Basically, she's saying that the president is a bad leader, all because he supports something that she do not. Even though she's a single mother raising a child, yet she came out again and says that the family's better off with a mother and father, even though she is not with her boyfriend for reasons only she and her ex-boyfriend knows. But from what I'm hearing, it's more based on that family than anybody else. And again, this is just narrow-minded thinking because, again, the way she said it, the way that came out, and the way I heard from other articles, you're really not helping matters. You just made matters worse. And yeah, you deserve to get criticized for that because now you're putting yourself in the political football field. You should expect the criticism, and these are well-deserved criticism because, from what you're saying, it makes you look like a narrow-minded witch that doesn't know what the hell's going on, and it's just stuck in your own little world, and that's all it is. And again, you want to believe what you want to believe, that's fine, but don't force your beliefs on me. Just because you want to believe doesn't mean I believe the same thing you believe. Stop forcing your religious beliefs on others, and just live out your life. If you have a problem with gays and lesbians, fine. Leave them alone, they leave you alone. But don't try to force laws that further demonize them. That's just my opinion. That's my tournament. You may not agree, you may not agree, or you may disagree entirely. But give me your opinion on this story. I'll leave a link below. You guys can talk about it. But I'm not going to talk about any more about this. Really, kids are better off with mothers than fathers. And yes, she's a single mother who's not even with a boyfriend and not even with nobody else. Yeah, that's a smart move. Very good smart move. Way to go, Pistol Palin, for bringing yourself in the spotlight. Not the best of moves. Okay, two more stories to go. This one, let me see. I'm going to start with this one because this is a weird story that was given to me by a friend of mine online. He has been a great supporter of mine, and I might as well talk about this because it's kind of a weird thing that he brought to me. But I meant to talk about it. I might as well bring it up. This happened a while back. I think during Monday or Tuesday. And it involves a woman and cocaine tampons. Yeah, it says here that Cindy Daviston is a good at sniffing out bargains. So when she went to Salt Lake City, the mom saw tampons on sale last Saturday. She didn't exactly turn up her nose at the good deal. However, inside the box, along with the tampons and the applicator for something extra, cocaine. It didn't look like it was a tampon with all that. She told KTVX TV. There was a xylophone filled with white powder and white powder. The powdery substance was rolled in a thick xylophone and taped shut inside the cardboard applicator. It was wrapped so tight, she spent 5 minutes trying to open it and still couldn't. The, the box was Boost tampons, a British brand, was supposed to contain 16 tampons. She noticed there were some inconsistencies, and they in the way they were packed. And I'm sorry. When she found the suspicious little package inside, her heart begins to race. It was certainly wasn't something that she ever experienced. I started getting nervous because I thought it might have been a terrorist attack. She told KSLTV. I called my sister first, and I said I was going to call the manufacturer the next day, and she told me to call the police. Yeah, that was should have been your first guess when you realized there was white poly something that's not supposed to be in the box, but I'll just continue reading. The attorney tested the substance and confirmed it was cocaine, which shocked the mother of two. I really couldn't wrap my head around it, she told the New York Post. Man, she went all over the place. She went to television shows and New York Post. Wonder why I didn't get to see this one. Because I don't read the Post too much. I was just thinking it was crazy. I couldn't believe it. It has happened. The manager of the store that sold the drugs, Lance Furman, hygiene production, has removed the remaining boot tampons, and the Salt Lake City police are attempting to backtrack the shipment to determine whether other packages contain the narcotic. Ah man, there's a little bit more. I just read this here right here. Meanwhile, Stan X Reyes, the director of security, has begin stores that sold the cocaine tampons and said more details needed to sniffer sniffer out the. Okay, sorry guys. Sorry about that. I had to do a jump cut. A little bit of distraction that went on, so I do apologize for that. But without further ado, let me just finish up this story. Yeah, this is a weird story. This is a very, very weird story. It continues on with the director of security, the NPS, the bargaining store that sold the cocaine tampons, said more details needed to be sniffed out before, I don't know why they use that word, before it can determine how the cocaine got into the product box. I mean, that's easy. Somebody wanted to ship it up without being caught by the police. What more do you need? Um, it also goes on without knowing the customer, without knowing the product specifically on this situation. We just have no information on to try to figure out where it came from. Well, you're not going to. I mean, unless some fingerprints other than the person who bought it is can be found, you're really not going to find it. And knowing the person who put that there, they're not going to be hesitant to say that that's mine. My bad. I left it there by accident. Can I have it back? It's not going to happen. That's pretty much a lost item. So that's pretty much all I can say about that. This story is weird on many levels. I will say this, and it's not even the tampon part about it, because well, that doesn't really shock anyone. I think uh, that's pretty much common for those who are trying to smuggle drugs into one place to another, whether it's tampons, whether it's coffee, whatever works for the person who's dealing in that situation. They're gonna find ways to get it by customs and get it by the people who don't want to be found. My thing about this is how this one went from news report to news report to talk about this, and how she felt that it was a terrorist attack, yet called her mom and other people before her mother said, "You got to call the cops." If you think that's a terror attack, uh, and that's on your mind, I'm calling the police, even though it may be a false alarm. Better safe than sorry, because I still remember the anthrax situation from years ago. That never went away. They never really caught the person who was responsible for doing that. So keep that in mind. That there's a lot of stuff that can happen there. Two, and like I said, it finds her not realizing that realizing is it may be a terrorist attack, but she didn't call the cops. She called the family. I guess trying to find this. That scratched my head a little bit. That's weird. But let me see. She went to KTV, KTVX television. She went to KSL television. She told the New York Post, and she told the Smoking Gun. My God, you know, man, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Wow. Yeah, somebody was trying to smuggle drugs. So unfortunately, she got to it first, and the cops got to it, and now that's considered lost shipment. They're gonna write that off and keep it moving. And I no way, if they catch the person who did this, I'll be stunned. But this is one of those very weird stories that happened, and all I can say is that. the cops gonna pretty much have a field day. I don't think they're gonna go any further than this. I think they're gonna confiscate it and basically destroy it. But I don't think they're gonna push this because let's be honest, unless they can find other fingerprints containing in that box, chances are they probably will trace it back, but it's not gonna. It's gonna probably lead to a dead end. Like I said, somebody probably took the box, put whatever they gotta put. Because like I said, the report says it was neatly wrapped, and that's pretty much and was placed back in the box, and she just so happens to catch it before whoever was supposed to get that box to catch it, or maybe it just got mixed up and the person took the wrong box. It could be anything, but it's definitely a weird story. And for one thing is for certain, don't expect the drug dealer or whoever was supposed to be responsible for that package to ever try and take claim for it. That would be the dumbest thing ever had. And if I ever hear reports about that, I'm just gonna be laughing. That's all I gotta say, because you ain't coming back on that. But yeah, it is a weird story. Kind of glad he gave it to me. Something that would cheer me up at least a little bit from all the other story that I talked about. But yeah, it's not as weird as the fact that it was in cocaine was in tampons and it was wrapped the way it was. It's just weird that the woman had basically didn't think twice to call the cops after she suspected that this may be a bioterrorist attack. She just basically called them on. I just, man, it's just me. I'm surprised. So, she did got a lot of news coverage. So, the Post included. So, that's all I got to say about that one. All right, last one. I got one more report to talk about. It's a local news. Decided to do the local news last because there was a lot of other important news. This one is pretty much what Bloomberg had to say. My mayor of New York City, and the cover from the Daily News says Mayor Bloomberg said many parents don't know or don't care that their kids skip school. The story pretty much have it's Michael Bloomberg versus parents round two. For the second time in a year, Bloomberg argues city by suggesting that some parents don't understand the importance of education. We have a lot of kids who unfortunately don't have parents at home when they leave in the morning or get home in the afternoon, and it's harder to supervise kids. Bloomberg said Friday on this weekend radio show while talking about truancy. And then maybe some people don't care, Bloomberg says. Some people don't understand the value of education, the pushbacks, the fear that was fierce and fast. The mayor goes again, blaming parents. Says parents leader Zacharias. So this guy's name is hard to pronounce. I'm not even going. The link is below. I will let you guys pronounce his name if you guys can do it. It's always everyone's fault but his. He should be talking about ensuring that there are more graduates, guidance counselors, social workers, smaller classrooms, so schools can keep better track of students, and the reason why there are aren't going. Okay, instead of blaming parents and families that had a challenge he clearly don't understand. He's an anti-truancy rift targeting parents was an easy mark for public advocate Bill De Visco, who quickly criticized Bloomberg's purpose, budget cuts, and child care and after-school programs. I think it's blatantly insensitive. The 2013 mayor hopeful said, "I think he's out of touch with what happens with parents all over the city. This is not the first time he suggested that parents don't care about their kids' education." D. Frizzle said. Lee May Bloomberg hammered public school parents who were in opposition to his proposed education reform. He rips those who fought the city efforts closing suggesting schools in poor or minority neighborhoods. There are some parents who never had a formal education and they don't understand the value of education, says Herndon during the previous WOR radio show appearance. This time around, even one of the mayor's harshest critics says he has a point. Um, I salute the mayors for trying to get kids to come to school, said Brian DeVell, the principal of PS 257 in Brooklyn, for trying to encourage parents to ensure that their children are, in fact, going to school after they leave for work in the morning. Okay, I agree with both parties on this matter. I'm going to first say that. I'm going to say that those who are against Bloomberg, they have a very strong point. Bloomberg, to me, um, cannot criticize parents when he himself, as well as not just his New York City stamp, but the stamp of New York State as well, has chopped up the city to the bare minimum. The schools, let's be honest, has barely any resource in them. They're either closing schools down, closing out the centers down, and basically has given pretty much the teachers especially have given nothing to work with. Layoffs is happening all over the place, and with the way the thing is structured, you cannot really come on national radio and said that the parents are to blame for what's going on with education. It's just not going to work. Parents are going to take offense to it, and they have every right to be offended by it because they themselves have been fighting for years to get better education, and it has gotten worse. Um, to the point where education is almost non-existent unless you go to private schools or Catholic schools, and that costs money, which a lot of people do not have. And that's the problem with the mayor that I've always had. He's so dead set of balancing the budget on the other on programs expenses that he doesn't realize that it actually hurt these schools rather than serve them. I never had and never will agree to closing down any schools. If the schools are failing, you should find out the reason why. I mean, it's very obvious, and then work on those to improve it. And then you can actually come out and say, hey, look, you can step up. You need to come out and, and to the parents say, hey, look, you need to do just as much work at home than the teachers do in the classroom. Because, like I said, education is a 24-hour thing. They need to have it at home as well as the schools. At the same time, this is where it leads to the parents. The parents also have to make sure that their kids are going to school. There's just simply no excuse for that. Yes, the work environment that we have now is 10 times more competitive. People are trying to make ends meet. They have to leave the house early just to go to work. And that does cause a strain of them making sure their kids go in. But there's still no excuse. You still need to know. You still need to follow up on what your kids are doing. If in fact, if there is a problem with the schools, you have to care about that. You have to know why they're not going to school. Talk to your kids. Make sure that everything is all right, and make sure they're in the classroom. Because I'm gonna tell you, missing one day is like missing a week. That's how it is, especially and now, especially the way trying to push a lot of stuff into the kids in such a small amount of time. You want to get them as much of a head start as possible. You want to make sure they get as much education as humanly possible, and you want to make sure you show that kind of support. Don't just let your kids linger. That's something that you don't do. That happened to me, and it didn't help me. My parents did not force me to go to school, and I did not go to school. And that's the thing I think Bloomberg has been pointing out, that parents just don't care. As sadly as it is, he does have a point. There are some parents who simply don't care or don't know how to help educate the kids. And especially as the kids get older, it's harder and harder to force them and will them to go to school, especially when they already had very ill feelings towards it. But you have to do it. Today's workforce is different, and they need education because I guarantee you, they don't have no education. They don't have no high school diploma. They got no chance. This is a whole new world. Not having a high school degree is just not going to cut it. And a lot of places, including places you never thought they would ask for a high school diploma, are now asking for it. The days of having these jobs that doesn't require you to have an education are gone. Especially New York, New York City, McDonald's. You need a high school diploma. That's how competitive the job force is. You need a high school diploma to work at McDonald's. That never used to happen before. You can work there without any degree. Now you're around there asking for it. So keep in mind, you gotta really push your kids for to get that high education, and you should be pushing your kids for that because that is going to be their tool that they're going to need to further advance themselves. Without that tool, they can't. They're going to be stuck. They're going to be stuck, and that's pretty much what I got to say about that. So I do agree with on one side that the mayor needs to start really, if he really does care about kids' education, he needs to start acting like that because let's be honest, making these cuts, cutting after schools centers, which they have done by the way, this week, and then going on the radio saying that it's all the parents' fault is not going to cut it. He needs to show that he is more involved with the board education and improving the school and making sure they have enough resources, books, well educated, well qualified teachers in the classroom, as long as the administrative staffs in terms of counselors, and people who are going to be on there. If their kid missed one day, make that phone call. If they missed two, serve a warning, and really push for that. At the same time, parents need to step up. They need to make sure their kids go to school. There's no excuse for that. I don't care if you're busy. If you're at work, do yourself a favor. Call the school and say, "How my kids doing? Is he in class?" They'll tell you. Trust me. There were places I was when I was with them. They know I wasn't in class. They called them and they told me I wasn't there that day. That got me. That got me back to motivation. So they will tell you if your kid is in class or attending school, and they will also tell you if he's cutting. So be involved. Um, be there, show them that kind of support. Because believe me, this world is changing, and it's going to get a lot tougher to get jobs, especially when there's barely any jobs in this out there to begin with. Well, that's pretty much it for what's news. Again, I will leave all the links so you guys can read up on it yourselves and comment on it. This has been a very aggressive what's news. And there's a lot of reasons. Like I said, the TSA story I talked about, it just boggles my mind. The Pistol Palin story, basically shows us how narrow-minded and how biased she is. At least more so to the family, because I have a funny feeling that Sarah Palin has a lot to do with that than anything else, because the fact that she would say something like that, and yet she herself is a single parent, really does raise a lot of eyebrows and brings a lot of criticism her way, which rightfully she deserves, no matter what. And also the story of the cocaine thing, which is kind of weird. More so, happy that the two girls are finally home safe and sound, and I hope at least some kind of justice is given to them. But in all, this has been a very, very interesting week in terms of news. And again, if you guys have an article you guys want me to check out, by all means, send in my inbox. I'll take a look at it. If it's something worth talking about, I will talk about it. I will do my research on it. Other than that, I will wait your feedback on the matter. You guys can agree, disagree, give your own thoughts about it, express yourself. I will leave the links below. And until then, this is J77 saying, you guys take care and be safe.